The iPhone SE in 2021 is a ridiculous choice. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Why is this iPhone SE 2020 ridiculous in 2021? Well, by the end of this video, we're going to find out why that is. But a key spec refresh, this phone has a 4.7-inch Retina display. It's LCD, 12 megapixel rear camera that's pretty darn close to what you get on the main lens for the iPhone 11. It also does 2160p recording, 3 gigs of RAM inside the body, and an Apple A13 for this phone, 1821 milliamp hour battery inside of it. Now, the iPhone SE 2020 is ridiculous in a good way, and the reason why is multitude of reasons. Let's begin by talking about the body. A super thin, lightweight phone at a reasonable price point that also finds a way to still feel more premium than some other phones in this segment or in this price range, with an all-glass back supporting wireless charging, an aluminum body on the edge, and a very sleek looking camera. Yes, we do have an older design on the front here. The phone still felt very premium here at 148 grams, while the iPhone 12 mini comes out and steals the show as being even smaller, even lighter. The iPhone SE is still a light, easy to use phone in one hand with IP67 dust and water resistance. So very nice. Very ridiculous in terms of what you're getting for the money. I really do like it. Okay, now the iPhone SE is also ridiculous when it comes to display. And then for this one, it's not a ridiculous in a good way. I mean, this display is not the sharpest, but it does get very bright. So it does have something good about it. It gets to 625 nits on that Retina LCD panel, 326 ppi for this display. So you're not going to have really a big issue with pixels seeing that stuff. But the display does feel a little bit old school. If you do punch in here, you do get the same features you get on the newer iPhones. On the whole, in 2021, the iPhone SE 2020 has an acceptable display for the price point. Although I would like to see a Plus model and for them to bring back that landscape mode that you've seen on the iPhone 8 Plus. But in terms of just opening up applications every day and using the phone, I don't think you're really going to be thinking about, oh, the display is bad or anything like that. It's very well tuned. It has plenty of brightness and it's sharp enough for most. People weren't complaining in the past about their iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 display, so I don't think they're going to be complaining much about the iPhone SEs either. Now, when it comes to the software, again, a ridiculously good deal. We have a phone that's not going to be even more than $400 depending on which model you get in terms of storage, and giving you the latest refined iOS software of iOS 14.3. And it's fun to put widgets and use the app library on this little phone right here. I mean, it's not the smallest iPhone, of course. The mini, again, we'll mention it again, it had to come and steal the show. But the iPhone SE with its home button, it's kind of like a mix with the old with the new. It does have the home button, but it does have widget support. And it also does have the ability to see, the app library. But in addition to that, you can also see your battery health, and you could still swipe up from the bottom like you used to do in the past. So if you do prefer this method versus gestures, that's nice. And while we're on the topic of that Touch ID home button, this is also very useful in our current times. If we're still wearing masks when we're out and about, we do have the ability to just easily unlock this phone. So very nice, at least until, we do get everybody to the point where we can now just take off the mask. You can see, bam, we're going to be getting in very fast here with the SE. And again, this is why I want to see a Plus model. Not everybody wants a smaller model here in 2021. Okay, guys, so when it comes to performance, if I go into Amazon, it doesn't want to click sometimes, but when I go into the applications, very fast here day to day. Now, I will say that with this home button, this action of coming home on the SE, when we are hitting that home button to come back to the home screen, it doesn't feel as fast as just quickly swiping a gesture away on the newer phones. But at the same time, it's a very reliable way of operating this device. But with the Apple A13 Bionic chipset, 3 gigs of RAM, once again, Apple has built an iPhone that is built to last. I mean, again, some Snapdragon 888 phones are not even going to beat this entry-level iPhone SE. So let's talk about the iPhone SE's camera here in 2021. It's a ridiculously good camera for just being a single camera. It's also very simplistic. There's no thinking about when to use a wide, when to use a telephoto. It's just point and shoot, classic Apple here. You do have 4K 60 video. Unfortunately, on the front, you don't get 4K 60 video. This is a sacrifice. If you want the best of the best video, you're gonna have to sacrifice that extra money and go get a mini or a regular 12 or an 11 or even, you know, an iPhone 11 Pro, for example, or even, you know, an iPhone 10. If you want those extra cameras, you're just not going to get it here. But if you do want that extra video on the front, the 4K 60, you have to get 11 and up. But over here, if we swipe up, you'll see we do have 16:9. We have the square modes here. We have portrait, panoramic modes. But instead of me just talking about it, you've seen the iPhone interface 1,000 times. Let's take a look at some of the samples I did take here. So you can see it does have the ability to produce some beautiful results. And I really do think you can get, you know, exceptional photos out of this without really thinking about needing an extra camera, like buying an extra camera. But if you want to be, you know, super professional about it, you're going to have to get a dual lens camera. But this one I think is a great starter iPhone. It's actually much better than what we've seen years past on like the 5S, the older SE. This camera is actually very usable, and I think I could take some video and some photos and put it on my YouTube channel. You might not even know I was shooting it with this phone. So yes, a very usable, very acceptable camera for video and photos, but it's not going to be mind-blowing, I think, like you would see on the 11 Pro series, the 12 Pro series, the 12, the 11, like those phones. Okay guys, so when it comes to sound,
Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Welcome back to the channel.
this phone doesn't have the same level of loudness as, you know, some of the other iPhones in the lineup.
Should you buy the iPhone 11 in 2021? By the way, Happy New Year's, you guys.
Okay, so on my sound meter, I hit around 99.3. Now on the 11 Pro or even the 11, some of those phones can hit around 110 decibels at their max volume. So this phone doesn't get quite as loud.
I really do appreciate you guys.
And it kind of makes sense. It is the cheaper iPhone.
Continuing.
And at the loudest volume, it doesn't sound quite as full as even the 12 mini. So definitely not the best speakers, but they are very usable. They're still stereo, and you will probably get some AirPods or some Bluetooth headphones that connect to this thing anyway. So you'll be good, I think, on audio. It's just not the best on an iPhone. Call quality on this phone, fantastic. You know, this phone didn't have no issues here. Speakerphone, because the audio, again, not as loud, it's not going to be the loudest speakerphone. You might, again, want to throw on your headphones for this one, but it will still do the trick when needed. When it comes to the battery life on this phone, you are going to be sacrificing a bit here on the battery life with this device. 1821, I found this to be very reminiscent of the older experience with iPhone, where you were charging middle of the day, 7 o'clock p.m. You're back on the charger because you're getting a little bit nervous about the battery. This is not the best on an iPhone, but with chargers in the car, chargers at home, wireless charging, fast charging, if you don't have an extra charging solution by now, you probably want to start getting with the times when it comes to battery backup, because there's a lot of options these days to keep your phone running all day long. But again, 4G LTE on this phone. Right now, I would say that 5G is not super widespread. So again, a ridiculously decent deal here for the iPhone SE. So in conclusion, the SE is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous steal in 2021. I mean, it's giving you most of what a premium iPhone can do. You just have to make some sacrifices of an older feel, but you have the same processor, similar camera on board. Yeah, worse battery life, but the same software experience that will be updated for a long time. This phone comes in red, black, and white, so pretty standard colors. I wish they would have launched it in like a pink color or a purple color for people who like those alternative colors, but no, they just gave you some standard colors here. But still, I think you might find one you may like, and white is pretty good if you want to throw an alternative case on there with your own color, because it's pretty neutral. But again, $199, $250, depending on where you find it, $350 at Apple. This thing is a steal. It's a ridiculous value. And if you found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click the thumbs up for me, and let me know what you want to see going forward on the SE. Do you want to see the SE Plus this year? Do you want to see this go up against Snapdragon 888? Let us know down below in the comments. Nick here. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next episode, and subscribe if you haven't already. We got many more videos to come. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.